we're good to go. Okay. All right, friends. So sitting up nice and tall, like I said, a few reminders as we start practice. The three main principles for yin is to find the appropriate depth for each shape for your body today. So if it feels good today, it may feel a little bit different next week or the week after. So do what feels right for you today. Listen to your body. Find that edge. Try not to go beyond it, right? This is not an ego-based practice. You hold still and we hold for time. So if there's anybody that's a little bit newer and you're not able to hold the posture as long as, I have the timer set for, that's okay. I want you to listen to your body and back off when you need to, come out as you need to. Okay, so sitting up nice and tall. And I like to sit on a bolster. It just gives me a little lift. It allows my knees to descend to the ground and my pelvis, my hips feel a little bit more open, and I can really feel this alignment in my spine. So try to work with your shoulders over your hips. So I always like to do the opposite to find it. So maybe I rock forward, maybe I lean back. And then when I find center, I will hold still. Keeping your chin level with the floor, perhaps your eyes close or soften. And depending on your energy and what you need, palms can be face down if you need some grounding energy, or palms up if you are in receiving mode, if you are ready to accept the abundance the universe is ready to give to you in all ways. So you choose. And then begin to draw the awareness inward. So start noticing your breath. Notice the breath as it enters through the nostrils. And that maybe brief pause before the exhale with the breath going out through the nose. And just continuing that pattern, breathing in, slight pause, exhaling through the nose. And then that slight pause at the bottom of your breath before the inhale starts. So the breath has 4 parts. And that pause is just ever so brief. It's like you hardly even notice it. So even right now, as we're doing this breathing together, and I'm thinking about that slight pause at the top and the bottom of the breath, it's kind of making me think about if you've ever thrown a ball into the air and it kind of just hangs for a second before it comes back down to the earth. That's kind of the visual I have right now with my breath. So as I inhale, the ball is in the air. And then right before it comes back down, there's that little hang time. Good. And then inhaling. And then noticing your face. Are you holding any tension in your jaw? Can you soften through that area? Can you let there be some space in between your top and your bottom teeth? And let that tongue rest gently back into the palate. And just take a moment, because we did have a new moon recently as well. So, new year, new moon, amazing. I want you to think about the things that you would like to happen this coming year in 2025. So think of it as like a little mental cork board or like Pinterest board where you're just pinning pictures onto this board for 2025 of what you would like to see. So just like a little picture snapshot, whatever that is. You're working towards a goal, of education or home ownership or moving into a different area or a new vehicle, a new job, anything. The sky is the limit. This is the time where we can manifest. We can drop these little seeds in and see what happens, right? We have the intention. We're not going to try to control anything because things can show up in totally different ways than how we thought they were going to come to us. And that's okay. It's just being open to it, being receptive, not trying to control every aspect. That'll drive us all just a little mad, right? Trying to control everything in our lives. Staying here for 3 to 5 more cycles of breath. All right, gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Carefully blink open your eyes. Come back to your space. All right. How are we feeling? Good? So let's get into some poses. Yeah? All right. Let's start on our back. I think let's start there. We've been sitting up for a while. So let's start on our back. Something a little different. We're going to come into banana asana. So taking a little IT stretch and then the arms as well. Nobody mentioned anything about shoulders or arms or neck tonight. It sounded mostly it was like hips and certain things to avoid. So come down to your back. You may or Oh yeah, Julie, I don't have a mic on for this. I have a mic on for the recording because that whole thing I tried doing the mic for this did not work with Insight Timer, whatever it did not work. I'm gonna have to do some more research because as I record it, it's easier to have the mic for the recording, and I don't know how to figure this out for that. Because when I popped in those earbuds, you couldn't see me, you couldn't hear me. Remember, I had to cancel like 2 or 3 classes because I kept trying different things. Okay, so on our backs, yeah, well, for the most part, I got it figured out. I'm trying. Ugh. So, technology, things change so much, and, sometimes less is better. Less is more, right? Okay, so on our backs, I don't usually start with a banana asana, but this is going to be nice, I think. All right, so just before going anywhere, just settle on your back for a moment. Rock your head a little side to side. And make sure that you still keep that natural curvature in your neck. So you're not flattening out your cervical spine, but your face is looking, flat right against the ceiling. And just let the feet roll open to the sides. Try not to have the feet touching anything so you don't get distracted or fidgety. That's why it's nice to have a little space around your mat. Because sometimes in our practice, we come off the mat a little bit. So on your next inhale, reach your arms overhead. And let's be here for 2 minutes. Now, when we come into this shape, if the arms begin to numb or tingle, then I want you to bring the arms down alongside your body. You don't need to keep them overhead if they're starting to lose circulation. So arms come up overhead, walk the arms over to the right. So we're going to start just with the upper body. And now take your right hand, grab your left wrist, and that's just going to give you a little extra pull. And then when you're ready, walk the feet over to the right. And then you can play with the crossing. For me, I like the left ankle over the right. I feel a lot more stretch in the left side body because that's what we're going for. So we're curving towards the right into that banana crescent moon shape. And then you can look up towards the left elbow or towards the sky or maybe towards the feet. But find a neutral, ish, whatever feels right for in your body right now. And then just keep breathing into the left side waist. Again, if the fingers start to tingle or go numb, you can release the arms back down alongside your body. Do you notice if you are gripping or tightening anywhere unconsciously? Just draw your awareness, soften through that left shoulder. I just realized I was gripping mine, so now I'm releasing it. And that feels so much better. Keep taking those nice mindful breaths. Stretching and body back that fascia, right? That you're feeling, maybe that stretch deep. All right, on the exhale, slowly release your arms. Walk your shoulders back to center. Uncross your legs, walk them back to center. And then maybe just in between sides, just to realign your spine. Maybe you do a little bridge lift. So walk your feet back underneath the knees. And then on an inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, and then slowly release back down. And you can do that a couple more times if you want a little more movement. And maybe bring the arms up too. Good. All right. Next side. When you're ready, inhale, arms overhead. And then bring them down over to the right, to the left. Again, left hand grabs right wrist. And then legs walk over to the left. And then for this side, right leg on top, but you try the other way. Maybe you get more. For me, it's the right leg on top. I get more stretch. I feel it all the way from the right ankle, all the way up to the right hip. Well, and then all the way from the shoulder or the armpit. A nice stretch on this side. Again, choices for your gaze. You can look up or kind of neutral, or maybe you look down. But I want you to feel like you're not straining or holding your neck in any way. And maybe you walk the feet over a little bit more after a little bit of time in the pose. You can always try to go a little bit deeper if you're like, oh, I'm not really feeling much anymore. Maybe I can take it a little deeper. And that's why each day, each practice you come to for yin is going to feel and look a little different. To me, yin is one of those very personalized practices. We're all put together a little bit differently. Some of us are a little tighter, some of us just have a little more space. You know, the length of the bones, the size of the bones, that all makes a big difference in our ability to move. So, this is why yoga is not a one size fits all, right? We're all a little bit different. Good. And then exhale, release those arms, uncross the legs and bring them back to center. Again, maybe bend the knees, walk the feet in, a little bridge lift, or maybe it's knees to chest. But find a little bit of movement. Good. All right. Carefully rock up to a seat, or you can roll over to one side. All right, how we doing so far, everybody? Hi, B. Ah, beautiful. I'm glad to hear that, B. Yeah, good. It's a great book. Yeah. There's hello, people. I see more people have joined. Welcome, friends. Okay, so that was our first posture, getting into a little bit of our banana. Let's come into our half saddle. And I know, Julie, you said you're going to take pigeon. So if there's anybody, let me think here. Yeah, half saddle, because the point of the half saddle is to stretch the hip flexors. So whichever way you're going to do it, And I guess too, even if you weren't going to do pigeon or half saddle, I guess you could do figure four as well if it's too much for the knees that way. Because in pigeon, you may be putting some pressure on the knee there, but the whole idea here is the hip flexor. We're just going to do it a different way in half saddle. So if you're taking pigeon or swan, you can come into it now. But if you're joining knee on your back in half saddle, or maybe you're not coming down all the way, let's extend the right leg forward. Let's bend the left knee back. And then we'll start here first. So you can sit up. Maybe the hands are underneath the shoulders, or maybe you begin to walk the hands back, or maybe even so much you come down to your elbows and your forearms. But be where you are right now. This right leg is just kind of flop open. And let's stay for 2 minutes, because this could be a pretty intense posture too. So we're gonna hit the hips pretty well tonight, I think. So your choice. Now, like I said, you can stay up on the hands, drop down to the elbows. You can stay here the whole time, right? You can take it in little increments, right? Incrementals. Like when I used to teach special education and we have our IEPs, we write for our kiddos individualized education plans. You have a main goal, and then you have 2 incremental goals. And those are just like your scaffolding, like that I've kind of talked about before with like our props. Our props can be considered scaffolding, and then as soon as we don't need it, we can take it away. But always know the props are there for support. All right, now, this is good. You can stay here. If you want a little bit more, then you are more than welcome to come down all the way to your back. Right? So you might be feeling more sensation. Now, if this has shifted any kind of sensation and changed to pain into the knee, then come out. Take that figure four, or maybe you take the sleeping swan or the swan. Try to soften here. Did the glutes turn on here? Did something tighten? You can always bend this straight leg too. So choices, straight leg. If it's too much on the hamstring, bend the knee. Because we're really not focusing on the right leg, right? It's all about this hip flexor and this quad. You're going to feel that stretch too. So either straight leg or knee bent. All right, one more breath. Good. And then you are more than welcome to come back up the same way you came down, or maybe I'm just going to take my right arm and just kind of like roll over to the right slightly and release the left leg. Okay, and then as you are, go ahead and change sides if you're taking the sleeping swan. Same thing for us. Let's go ahead, straighten the left leg, bend that right knee. Make sure you're even. Before you even start holding the posture, just feel like you're even on those sitting bones. Timer is starting. Okay, again, up on your hands. Or maybe you are in that swan and you're staying upright. You can always drop down to the elbows. Right? You're starting to feel something. I see a comment. I just want to pop over really quick. Hey, Diana. What is my foot supposed to be doing on the bent knee side? Great question. If you can, keep the top of the foot down. If not, that's okay. Roll the foot out to the side. So you can go top flat or like that. Kind of more like a frog leg. Like when we take frog, we are going to kind of come into a half frog too a little bit later. So, but if you can, keep it there. Now, also, don't worry if the knees are not together. You can let the knee open up a little bit if you need to. All right, now wherever you are, you can stay here, right? This knee can also be bent. Choices. I want to give you as many choices as you need, right, for this posture to be accessible to you. Right? And this is why if you were to step into a yin room, all the bodies would look a little different. So, and that to me that's yoga, right? Because it's for you, right? It's not for me. I mean, it is. It's for all of us. But everybody should be able to access it, right? Some form of yoga. That's why I love it. Oh my God, I just remembered another style of yoga that I teach that I was telling somebody, they're like, what kind of styles of teacher, what kind of classes do you teach? And I was telling them, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot chair yoga. Anyway. Oh well, it's, it's all good. Breathing here. Keep releasing. Feeling that stretch. Nice deep stretch. All right, friends. Same thing. You can come up the same way you came down, or roll over just slightly, and you can release that leg. Hug the knees in. Give yourself a little rock. Good. Yeah, please, friends, anytime, if I wasn't specific enough, or if you're just like not sure about something, I love questions. So always feel free to type it into the chat, because if you have that question, chances are somebody else does too. So I love questions. I really do. All right, friends, let's do a little bit more into the hips. All right, so for half frog, kind of the same idea, but now instead of going backwards, we're going to go forwards. Now, I know somebody said hamstrings. So if this is too much, go ahead and you can put a bend. We can grab a blanket. Where's Betty tonight? She's not with us over here? Oh, she's over there with Chicky. She's busy. You can take a blanket roll. I'm going to make it a little bit more narrow. If I go the other way, it'll be a little too thick. So you take the blanket roll and you can place it underneath that knee if you need a little relief for the hamstring, if it's too much. Okay, so now for this, kind of the same, right? So like I said, instead of going backward, we're going forward. But again, now you have choices. You can keep it fairly close, right? Top of the foot on the floor, and then we're going forward. Or turn the foot out, open this knee up a little bit more, and that's going to give you more into the hip, right? A little bit more. So I want you to decide where you want this knee to be. Do you want them closer together, or do you want to take it a little bit more? Because when you bring the knees together, you're going to feel more in the hamstring, right? I mean, you're going to feel in the hamstring anyway, but then now it shifts a little bit and you're going to feel in the inside of the groin and the hip. Okay. You choose your adventure. We're not taking super long holds in these tonight, right? So just 2 minutes on this side, 2 minutes on the other side, and then we'll find some nice release in another posture. Good. So you just come forward again, soften through this extended leg, and just breathe. And as you exhale, just keep going a little bit more forward into this fold. Maybe you release your head a little bit more, the chin tucks in. And just allow the upper body to become a little bit heavier. Let gravity do the work here. Soften through your facial features. Unclench your jaw. Maybe close your eyes and find that like kind of meditative stillness in this posture. Good. And then slowly inhale, come out. And then carefully bring that back leg forward. If you want to give the legs a little wiggle, let them stretch out a little bit. And then when you are ready, we'll switch to the other side. So then left knee will bend. Again, just the same way when we were coming into the half saddle, we want to make sure we're even on our sitting bones. So if you feel like you are leaning to one side, take the edge of a blanket and you can slide it underneath that side to even yourself out. And this might actually bring a little relief to the hamstrings too, because then it allows our pelvis to sit up a little bit more, right? Because if the hamstrings are tight, we're going to be kind of scooping under. So sit up on your sitting bones and then bend this knee. When you bend the knee, it's going to give your low back a little bit more slack so you can sit up tall, right? I'm not worried about your legs being straight or bent, right? I want your spine to be straight. I don't want you rounding, right? What feels better? What's easier to breathe in? A nice tall long spine or a rounded slumped spine? It's not this, my friends. This makes me a mouth breather. No, I don't want to mouth breathe. I want to close my lips and I want to breathe through my nose and I want to feel that ease of breath, right? It's so nice. So your posture is so important. So if you do have one of those jobs where you sit, please, please, please take time to notice how you are sitting throughout your day. Do some yoga. Okay, I have some chair yoga stuff on not on Insight on YouTube. So the chair yoga is wonderful to do if you have that kind of a job. I do too, right? I work at a spa. I sit down a lot, but I'm also active throughout the day, moving around in the spa. But it's important to move the body. All right, and make sure you're sitting properly. Okay, so right leg extended, put under something underneath the knee if you want, or sit up on some blankets to give your pelvis a little ease to neutralize. Okay, and then same thing, other side. I guess I'll turn the other way. Just makes it easier. Legs can be closer together, or maybe you're taking it a little bit wider, and then you can take that foot out to the side. So 2 minutes, same thing. All right, you're going to come forward into the fold, right? It doesn't matter how deep you go, right? But I want you to pay attention to sensation. So if anything is starting to happen in the knee, I want you to come out. And then just let gravity do the work. Keep opening up that knee if it feels better. Get a little bit more in the hip and the groin area. Again, do a brief little check-in. Notice, have you tightened any areas in your face? Are you clenching your jaw? Are you balling your hands in a fist? These are all just little cues I want you to start paying attention to, right? Like our body just does it unconsciously, but when you're mindful and you're paying attention, you're like, "Oh, look what I just did," right? "Oh, let me soften my hand so I'm not making a fist," right? I don't need to hold on to this energy. I can let it go, right? Let all of that tension go with your exhale. And that's why breathing is so powerful, so beneficial. carefully walk the hands back. Inhale, come back up. Bring this back leg in. Good. Again, stretch them out, right? I know this knee that was just bent, the back of the knee is definitely feeling something, right? So just pay attention. Maybe just pause for a moment. Just notice, right? It's like that rebound effect. So just take notice of how you're feeling, what the soft tissues, the ligaments and joints might be feeling like. Good. All right. So a posture that I normally like to begin with, let's go ahead and end with it. We'll do a butterfly and then we'll come into a twist and then we'll take our Shavasana. So we are winding down the practice. If you would like to use props for this, there's options to use a bolster. So you can bring the bolster underneath your knees, right? Just like that. Drape your legs over the bolster. Then you can then bring the torso, the heart over it. Right, this is lovely. So great if you need that support, if it's just too much on the hip flexors and the groin to come into that. The next thing, kind of scaffolding going down, right, needing a little bit less support, you would take a blanket. Same idea, right? Roll it. You can take it over the tops of the feet like that. This is a nice ankle support, but it's not too thick. So actually, I think this is what I'm going to use today for my support. Otherwise, you can also use blocks on the outsides of the knees, right? At any height, tall, medium, and then low, right? So you choose what you need for practice tonight. So we will take a 3-minute butterfly here. So as you're ready, just rock a little side to side. Make sure you're even on your sitting bones. Stay for the inhale, and then exhale. Go ahead and round as much as you like. Come into your little butterfly. Long-legged butterfly. So remember, the feet don't need to be super close to the body. They can extend a little bit away. And then depending, you might shift the sensation. It might go a little bit more onto the outsides of the hips, as opposed to when you pull them in, it's the groin area, the inside of the legs. So it just depends where you want to feel the sensation. And again, just release your head, your neck, your shoulders. Maybe tuck your chin in towards your chest. And then anytime that we come into that stillness, just do a brief body scan. Just notice the areas that you're still holding. Maybe there's one area that you always have that tendency, that pattern to tense or tighten. Check in with that area. For me, it's always the jaw, right? It's always clenching the teeth, maybe balling the fists, the things that I mentioned, right? Because those are reminders for me, but I offer them to you too, because that's where you might hold your attention. So, but maybe there's someplace else. Maybe you clench the glutes, right? Can you soften a little bit? All right. Good. Gently release your hands down. Slowly roll up on the inhale. Just take a moment to move those props out of the way. All right. Let's go ahead and make our way to our back. And if you would like to use a prop, whether you want to use a bolster or a block or a blanket, I'm going to use a block here. A blanket, taking this twist. So coming down to your back. On an exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. Just rock a little, or maybe hold still. Sometimes stillness is, that's what we've been practicing all night, is stillness. So maybe just hang here for a few breaths and then add in some movement if you wish. Good. Just slowing everything down. It's nice just to pause. All right. So as you're ready, I'm going to take a twist to the right. So you choose, maybe it's one leg straight, and then you bring that top knee over, that left knee across the body. Maybe it's two knees bent. You bring them over to the side. Or maybe you really want a deeper twist. So you wrap the legs once, maybe twice, kind of like eagle legs. Shift the hips over to the left and then drop the knees to the right. Extend that arm out to the side. Breathing here. Oh, now she decides to join. Hi, Mama. Hi. Oh, is that on your... Sorry. Here you go. Lay down. Come on. Lay down. Good girl. That's a good little piggy. Yes. My dog makes truffle pig sounds. Oh, hi, sweet girl. You missed the whole practice. You was chewing on Chicky. All right, friends, slowly on the inhale, bring the knees up. If you want to realign your spine and do another little bridge lift in between, I invite you to do that. Oh, no, this is Mama's blanket right now. No, you have one right here, Mama. Over here. There you go. All right, so one leg, double leg twist. Oh, no, I better get there before she does. And then twisted roots to the other side. Good. Just allowing that right shoulder to drop towards the ground. Use those supports. All right, sweet girl, lay down. Keep breathing here. Come on, lay down. All right, friends, on your next inhale, bring those knees back up. Unwind. And then slowly extend your legs forward. Maybe you take that blanket behind your head. And again, just make sure nothing is touching your feet so you don't have that distraction. We are coming down to our final posture of Shavasana. So allow those feet to roll open to the sides. Maybe a gentle lift of the heart. So tuck the shoulders underneath the heart. And then your palms will then face up towards the sky. And then just pause here. We're just going to breathe for a few moments, resting here, allowing all of the benefits of our practice to integrate into our nervous system. So know you've done the hardest part of practice. You showed up, you did what you could, you did what felt right, and you listened to your body. Very yoga, very yoga. Again, just allow your body to relax and soften. Take a nice big breath in through the nose. Open mouth, release, let it go. 2 more. Inhale. Taking a little bit more breath at the top. Open mouth, release. 1 more time. Big breath in. Taking a little bit more. Open mouth, let it go. Betty, it's Shavasana. What are you doing? Hey. Seriously? All right, friends, as you are ready, begin to take some deeper breaths into your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Just bring a little movement back into your body after that very brief but very important Shavasana. And circling the ankles and the wrists one direction and reverse. Okay. On your next inhale, reach the arms overhead, full body stretch. Carefully bend one knee at a time, roll over to one side, and just pause there. Again, just maybe reflecting on the things that you would like to see happen, that you are manifesting and calling into your life for this year. And then all of the abundance you already have, I tend to lean on the more you show of your gratitude, the more like the universe is going to say, they're so grateful for what they have. I'm going to give them more. So I try not to come into that scarcity mindset. I mean, I know it's very easy to, but think about all that you do have and all that you're grateful for, and that's going to give you more. More, right? More, because you are thinking about all that you have, right? Oh my God, I have so much, you know? And then everything is just, it's good, right? I have enough. Like, why do we need more, right? We have such consumer issues in America, it's so wild. Like, it's so crazy to me that people have garages full of stuff they don't use, or storage units full of stuff that they don't use, right? I get it. It's stuff. We have memories with it, you know? It's hard. Everything I own is in this place, and that is it. Everything I own. And even now, I'm like, I could probably get rid of stuff. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you got what you needed out of this practice, or I hope you were able to modify it and change it for you so it worked for you. But please, please, I always love, your feedback. Let me know how it went for you. And then I will see you again tomorrow. If you're showing up tomorrow for the workshop at 10 a.m., 90 minutes, it's going to be great. It's going to be, we have like 6 or 7 postures and the journaling practices. It's going to be fun. I love this practice, right? Because this is a time for us to pour back into ourselves, right? The holidays are over. The decorations are hopefully almost put away. Maybe the things are getting returned or whatever, but it's time to kind of like retreat a little bit and settle. And so I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot on my social media feeds about like January 1st is not the time to establish new routines. January 1st is not the time to start resolutions. It should be in the spring. And if you actually think about it, it does make more sense that the springtime would be the time that you establish new routines and things like spring cleaning, right? We don't call it winter cleaning, right? We're still supposed to be hibernating. All right, let's go ahead and close the practice. On the inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bringing down all of that divine universal energy to your heart centers. And that divine universal energy vibrates as the frequency of love, through which you and I and all sentient beings are connected on this planet. The light in me salutes and honors light in all of you, my friends. Namaste. Thank you so much. Yay.